here in the library, you have these charts set up, Scott. And, the first one is about where you got the items to wet sift. So let's talk about that.
Okay.
And we've been there. We've actually made a whole series,
Right.
Joshua's Conquest. We're calling it Discover Hidden Israel 1.5, if people are looking for our video. But this is the altar area. And I think I remember when we were standing there in 2019, you said, boy, I would love to go through this dump pile. And then you did.
We were already dreaming at that point, and what we did shortly after that is we came back and we extracted material from the east dump and the west dump, and we wet sifted it.
Now,
and
when you say you extracted material, there's a big, huge pile there.
yeah, it's massive.
How do you do that? What did you do to get it to your wash?
Okay, well, it was a combination of some heavy equipment that then loaded it into trucks to get it, to us where we could examine it. But some of it was literally manual labor of people down there with shovels into the dump pile and loading it into wheelbarrows that are then dumped. And
you wouldn't know where these would have come from in the dig area, or did Adam?
no, we did.
Paul say?
The altar material all went into the east dump.
And this is where the tablet was
This is
discovered?
where the tablet came from. So we kept track wisely of which one we were sifting.
Yes.
It was labeled either E or W.
I got it. Okay, and you did not sift the
No.
center. So there's more to do.
Yes, the center is primarily from this Area B 4-room house, as is the west dump.
And you had previously dated, before the tablet discovery, the round altar below the square rectangular altar to be from
Time
late
of Joshua, yeah, around 1400 BC, the very beginning of the LB2 period.
And also you have a outline of a footprint, which very few people have ever heard of that in Israel, but you and I have been to a number of these.
Yeah, we had some adventures going to these things. This is the last one. So if they're going up the Jordan Valley, like, footprints, this would be the last one you would come to. And it's actually a footprint inside of a footprint.
And the significance of that, you would assume, is everywhere your foot will step,
Right.
you will gain that land.
And incidentally, you are a stone's throw from Elam Moreh here, where the Abrahamic covenant was cut. So you are like right next to where the Abrahamic covenant, maybe it has to do with that idea. Wherever your feet touch, I'll give you.
And then you actually have the photographs. Of course, these are blown up. So show us the size with your hand.
Okay,
of this
so
tablet.
it's about 2 by 2 centimeters. So just a little bitty guy, folded in half. So it's actually 2 by 4 if it were unfolded. As far as surface to write on, you can see the fold there. This is why when I saw that it was lead and then saw that it was folded, I immediately, my heart leapt, because I knew that this was a curse tablet.
And you were familiar with that
Yeah,
already?
it's a
this was-
genre.
but it's usually found later on than...
Second Temple period. These are much more common.
Okay.
But I was puzzled because like almost no pottery from that time period, like 0.25%, 1/4% of the pottery is early Roman. The rest is from much, much, much earlier. So I thought, wow, this very unlikely that it's from a later time period, but let's see. Ultimately, the analysis of the lead and of the epigraphy indicated that it indeed was from the late Bronze Age.
You first found it. Did someone bring it to you very excited, bring you over? How did that work?
So our trays were being checked by supervisors. So Frankie Snyder was working at one station, and Frankie was really our most experienced small finds person who was there. And as Providence would have it, in her tray, as she was checking it, she saw it, she knew what it was.
Wow.
And so she got my attention and Abigail's attention and said, you guys need to come see this. And when we walked over, we saw it, and the three of us just kind of did a dance right there, realizing that here we had a curse tablet from the Mountain of the Curse. In our highest dreams did we think it would have this inscription on it, that we would be able to recover.
Would you expect to find an inscription on a curse tablet?
Yes.
Yeah. So you knew, first of all, this looks exactly like what you would expect. Could you tell it was lead right away?
Yes, the weight was very clearly lead. And then we had a metal detector that we checked it with also.
Okay. And then were you able to initially see any inscription? I mean,
Yes.
it looks like to me like right there.
Yeah. So I remember day one seeing that with the naked eye, and I remember telling Abigail, this is man-made, it's intentional, that's not random. And then, we looked, and with the naked eye, we could see that it did have markings. My assumption was that the text was going to be on the inside and maybe just symbols on the outside. But as it turns out, we also have text on the outside.
Okay. So in the press conference today, there was a tease about something more to come. I'm not going to try to get that from you, but I do want to know why, where would that additional inscription or more letters, I guess, be? Where is that you're not certain of yet?
Well, we are certain. We're just not ready to go public, if you will. But the examples I'm showing you, these are text elements.
And these are, so the text elements that you're giving, the actual curse is on the inside.
That's right.
So these are the elements that you're still not releasing, but is it because of further study? What's the reason that you're holding?
We have just confirmed these.
Okay.
And so we just need to double check everything. Okay. But you have more text on the outside.
That's what I love about Scott. There's always something else to come back to and talk to him about.
It's a process.
By the way, you're an InGrace favorite. Okay, just so you know, you're up there. Not as popular as me, of course.
Well, how could one be, right?
No, believe me, people would still watch it if I was not on. Okay, so we have the actual curse, which is, one of your experts says, an actual legal document and like a death sentence.
A binding text.
Okay.
Legal in that sense.
Okay.
It's a testament, it's a binding. When you make an oath in the late Bronze Age, we have many examples of these, okay? In the Hittite treaties, for example, they follow a 5-point covenant structure. And this is what the Mosaic covenant is. It has a 5-point structure to it. Point 4 is blessings and curses. Or God swears with an oath to bless you if you keep the terms of the covenant, Deuteronomy 27 and 28, to curse you if you don't, and it spells out what all the curses are. So in that sense, it's a legal binding document, the same way that a marriage ceremony or contract.
And you're not positive if it's the person that left the tablet, if that was his statement, or is this the statement of a nation?
Right. Could there be a titular head, Joshua's scribe? Because God tells Joshua to write these things on Mount Ebal. So does Joshua write it himself, Joshua ben Nun? We can't say that he didn't. Did he ask his scribe to do it? If so, then it's titular. That means it represents the whole nation. They're binding themselves. Or is it an individual who's come along later, even a generation or two later, we don't know, and personally bound himself to the covenant?
This tablet wasn't accidentally dropped by someone. This was left here on campus. And is that common? They would come to a place, cultic place, an altar?
We find cursed tablets in wells, in tombs, places in the earth normally, because it's sacred. They're getting them closer to the next world, to the deity. Even if they're pagan, they're still trying to get them like into wells and tombs and things like this. In our case, the altar is the ultimate repository, clearly intentional.
Yeah. And then the curse, obviously the main feature of this is the name of God.
Twice.
And that is also here. This is the actual inscription?
This is the only example we're showing today of the actual proto-alphabetic text. And this is what it looks like. And if you want to see what early Israelite writing, like pre-Paleo-Hebrew writing looks like, this is it. And this is the name of God, the covenant name of God, Yahweh. So you have a Yod here, and then you have a He, so this man with his arms raised. And we have many parallels of this in other texts. So you have a Yod, you have a He, and then you have a Vav. And together, this is Yahweh. And this is the first time we have this in Israel itself. And from this early time period, this is mind-boggling. We have the Soleb hieroglyph down in Egypt, the Shasu of the land of Yahweh. We have the Kuntilet Ajrud Pithos B from like the 8th century that mentions Yahweh. But now we have 600 years earlier, at a site where a covenant renewal was, we have the covenant name of God.
Wow. So this is something that is a monumental discovery that will be studied, argued, but it's pretty clear cut in your mind. Like this is solid stuff that we're talking about.
The ramifications of this are going to reverberate for generations. Do you have a reliable biblical text? Was it written at an early period? So on many levels, in academia, in scholarship, on a popular faith level, this will reverberate for a long time.
So it's another confirmation of the accuracy of the scriptures that I grew up believing and knowing, but it's that wonderful, wonderful reaffirmation maybe of that my faith isn't silly or in vain. It's real, it's tangible, there are real evidences there.
And this is big. I mean, 3,400 years ago, someone wrote the name of Yahweh, and now here you are, millennia later, a believer and a follower of this God, and now you have the chance to see his name.